The March 1st, 2017 Village of Gurnee Planning and Zoning Board meeting. Could we have roll call, please?
Bow. Here. Crawford. McFarland. Nordentoff. Paff. Here. Pacek.
Here.
And Sula.
Present. We do have a quorum. If everyone would please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. First item on the agenda is an opportunity for public comment. This is an opportunity for anyone that wants to ask a question, make a comment about something that's not on the agenda this evening. I'm going to close the floor to the public on that one. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from our meetings that were held on December 21st and January 4th. Does anybody have any questions or comments on the December 21st meeting? And a motion to approve would be in order.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, approved by Edwin, second by Josh. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
With regard to the January 4th minutes, motion to be in order.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Josh.
Second.
Second by Edwin. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item on the agenda. Are these both public hearings or not?
No, just the second.
Just the second one? Okay. Next one on the agenda is a minor special use permit modification for Home Depot located at 6625 Route 132. Clara?
Home Depot's special use permit allows for the year-round display of sheds on the sidewalk in front of the store and for a seasonal display in the parking lot. Home Depot is requesting a minor special use permit modification to allow the movement of the existing outdoor shed display from its current location on the sidewalk in front of the store to the southwestern portion of the parking lot. The proposed shed location would take up 6 parking spots, with 1 shed being displayed in each parking spot.
Any questions or comments from members of the commission or board? I see we have representatives from Home Depot. Would you like to add anything?
Again, thank you very much.
If you could please use the microphone and state your name for the record.
My name is Steve. I'm supervisor at the Home Depot. I came with the building, so I've been through these before. It's just been a while. This has created a problem. Steve Adden, the fire inspectors, has also voiced that where they currently are is creating, you don't have free exit of the building where these are located right now. And I believe we attached pictures, if you guys have, to show just, you open that emergency exit and you're at the back of a shed. This is just going to make it easier for everybody, allow us to keep it cleaner, get tool rental off the fire lane and back where it belongs in front of the building and make a nice, clean display. Okay. I don't know what else. Again, I'm still kind of new at this.
Okay. And from my recollection, this is kind of adjacent to where you do the seasonal displays too, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
I'd just like to go on the record saying I think this is going to set a horrible precedent for, year-round displays that aren't immediately adjacent to the building. I mean, I can see, I'd be interested to know how many sheds they originally had there when the special use was approved, because I doubt that we approved it allowing them to block a fire exit. And I don't know that, I don't think that this is the only alternative they have to relocate these sheds.
Tracy, you'd be our historical reference on this.
If you striped off that entire area in front of their store, they could put any outdoor equipment, materials, but of course they have to meet fire codes. So, but basically, the plan that was approved for the special uses, the entire parking lot is long, the entire frontage of the store as long as they maintain pedestrian area, keep a minimum of 4 feet. So, but again, they have to be able to meet fire exiting zones.
I tried to, no, this is Chrissy, our current store manager. She's the 7th store manager that I've been able to come up here and speak to some of the issues. I don't know if it's precedent or not. When I came from Lowe's, which I took pictures the other day, they have them probably exactly where we're talking, just outside the garden department, making it actually safer to shop the sheds than where they currently are located. And back when the original PUD was, business wasn't as it is today. It has grown. It has changed. And so has the assortments of what retailers carry. And if you're going to be any kind of good retailer, you're going to continue to grow different categories. This happens to be one of them. I believe we try to do the best we can. I know I personally work very hard every day to maintain what we currently have, but it's tough over there, especially by the exit, when you're trying to sell a customer a shed and you've got carts of material rolling in and out, because we will be getting busy here pretty soon. This was the best alternative we could see as far as being able to continue with the sales of the categories, but still try to keep it clean, neat, and organized.
And just to clarify, when they submitted their application for the minor amendment to the special use permit, they brought up the Lowe's situation, and staff believed that Lowe's had a special use permit to do exactly what they were doing, and it was only upon researching the Lowe's situation so that we could be confident in what we were reporting to you guys that we found out that there's no documentation of any special use permit for Lowe's to use the parking lot. So we've been digging, haven't been able to find anything, and as of today, it does not look like they have the approval to do what they're doing. So I want you to be fully informed that, you know, if you're looking at, you know, trying to keep it consistent with what Lowe's has. Lowe's at this point, it does not appear that they have approval to do what they're doing.
Have we had any complaints or safety concerns with the Lowe's?
With the Lowe's situation, no, but in looking at it, it's actually not in parking spaces. It's in a circulation aisle to the north of parking spaces. So it actually renders the parking spaces that are directly to the south of it not usable and probably a dangerous situation, because once you start backing out of those parking spaces, you're going to be hitting or potentially conflicting with the shed location. So Lowe's, as far as I know, and I don't get that far out west, so I don't know if their parking lot has ever been full to that far to the north, but it is a situation where those parking spaces are not rendered legal anymore, and I would think that it's a conflicting situation.
Certainly, that, you know, I'm not making a judgment yet one or the other, but if I had a choice of it being in a parking space or being in a circulation route, obviously parking space would be the answer that I would go to. And I'm assuming that if we were to send a favor, this is a village board item, right? We don't have final. Oh, we make the final one on this one? Okay. If we were to be favorable to this one, you still have ample parking according to the code, correct? Okay. Yes.
I went and I've been over to the Lowe's many times. Lowe's, I've never seen them filled up, even during Christmas time or spring or whatever. I live right around the corner from there. So I go there all the time. Personally, I like the location of the sheds. I've never had any issue with it over there. And I don't have any issue with them moving the sheds to where they're moving them now. I think that it gives better access to the sheds, and it probably gives more visibility to them. And that's what they're trying to do, is sell sheds. So I'm okay with it. I also went to a Lowe's down in, I think it was Northbrook. Nice area, beautiful shopping center, and they had the sheds out in the parking lot also, taking up parking spaces. So not in a circulation thing, but it was taking up parking spaces. So there was parking spaces right across from them. But I don't have a problem with it personally.
I mean,
I think it looks fine.
Josh?
I'd like to know about your concerns and why it might set a bad precedent. And I'd also like to, before you go there, understand through which criteria we should be evaluating this decision, because I know we do approve this for the home improvement stores and their outdoor, the garden section that's in the parking lot, the Christmas trees. So how do we evaluate those approvals for approving them in the past? How have we done that? Through which criteria should we be evaluating this decision? Maybe that's for the staff.
Yeah, well, I mean, basically, we have to look at the new, Stace, do you have the minor amendment? I'm sorry, Tracy.
You have,
Is that we have the green sheet, right?
Yeah, I was looking for the green sheet. Oh, it's mom sheet. So you have it.
I'm colorblind.
Well, this is the variation one.
Okay. So we don't have one, okay.
There are four, well, we do have it. We can get to that. In the meantime, basically, a minor special use modification is something that you will consider the criteria that's provided, and then you decide that on a case-by-case basis. The fact that this has a special use already that prescribed these sheds or these areas, certainly that's something to take into consideration.
Yeah,
And I'll find that for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, could you read the standards?
These are the standards for a special use permit. The establishment, maintenance, and operation of the proposed special use will not endanger the public health, safety, or welfare. Number two, the proposed special use is compatible with the general land use of adjacent properties and other properties within the immediate vicinity. Number three, the special use is in the specific location proposed is consistent with the spirit and intent of this ordinance and adopted village land policies. And four, the special use shall in all other respects conform to the applicable regulations of this ordinance, except as such regulations may in each instance be modified pursuant to the recommendations of the planning and zoning board. Now, those are the standards for special use. This is a minor amendment to the special use, but those would come into play also. I just pointed it out because this is a recommendation of the PZB. You will actually have a final decision making authority among
Okay.
them.
And Tracy, just to clarify for me, is the special use that we're doing, these are very hot now, that we're doing the minor amendment to, is it the one for the outdoor storage, like where they do the seasonal items, or is it for where the sheds are now?
That included both.
That was both, okay. Okay, so
It actually included the storage in back too.
Okay, so from my perspective, it makes sense for something that's a purely outdoor use product to be displayed outside. That makes sense to me. The fact that we already have seasonal displays out there, and they seem to work okay. I've been there in very busy times in the summertime when the garden type stuff is out there. It doesn't seem to cause any disruption there. And there are other outdoor uses that are seasonal, like Jewel has their greenhouse stuff out there typically every year.
Right, and remember with the 2015 zoning code change, we made it legal to put materials that the store sold outside in front of their store by right now, as long as they maintain pedestrian access, and the materials that they were putting out in front of the store were related to the store, and you couldn't sell other things that weren't, offered by the store itself. But that is now permitted use.
Then wouldn't this fall under that legal right?
But they're not putting them in front of the store, they're moving them to the parking lot. That's where it's not.
That's for the special use.
Store now.
That's where they're at.
They're in
You were
front-
talking just in front of the store, not in the parking lot.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying that when Jewel puts their plants in front of in the parking lot, that falls under that. Okay, that's a special use. Okay, got it.
It has to be within 15 feet of the
Got it. That's where it is now. Got it.
Okay.
Do we want to hear about why it's
Well, I mean,
a
it's-
horrible precedent or not?
Oh, I just think it's a dangerous, I mean, it's a slippery slope we're going to go down here. I mean, right now, we allow seasonal displays to be not immediately adjacent to buildings. So Jewel has one, you know, Home Depot has one. But, you know, now, we're going to allow them to locate a year-round display of materials that they sell apart, separate and apart from their building. And first of all, I don't even know if it satisfies the safety aspect, because even though they're putting it in parking places, I mean, clearly you have to traverse the parking lot and you're going to be standing in the drive aisles while you're looking at these sheds. So I don't even know that, you know, it's clearly not compatible with the surrounding area, because nobody else has year-round displays that are separate and apart from their buildings. And what I'm concerned about is, and their proof right here, because what they run in and say right away, well, Lowe's has it. So if we grant it to them, then suddenly Target's going to be like, hey, can we put our swing sets out in the parking lot so we can, you know, free up some space over here? You know, and then suddenly we're going to go from, you know, a nice visual area driving up and down the street to just one that's cluttered with displays everywhere. I mean, Menards has their entire shed display in the store. And I think there are alternatives for them to solve their, you know, life safety issue. I mean, first of all, I think it was self-created because there's been a proliferation of sheds in front of this building. I mean, I went there, you know, today to look at it, and there's sheds everywhere. I mean, originally they had 3 or 4. Mm-hmm. You know, now they've got, you know, 8. You know, maybe reduce the number of sheds that they have immediately adjacent to the building, and then have, you know, pictures of the other sheds that are available. Or get the half shed displays like they have in Menards and put those inside the store. I mean, I think there's other alternatives here that can be explored by Home Depot before we, you know, just give them the right to relocate this thing, you know, 24/7, 365 days a year out in the parking lot.
Any other questions or comments?
If,
Yes, sir.
sorry, no disrespect. I agree with you 100%. I had every intention of coming up here and mentioning Lowe's, but it wasn't the first thing I took. The very first thing that I put out there was the fact that it's blocking the emergency exit. Yes, I've been there. I came with the building literally, so I've been there since day one. We have reduced the number. But again, as a category grows, as the demand for a category grows, you need to answer that demand. Now, my best thought process to this is to put it out where it is. If it's set back far enough, no, they shouldn't be standing in the parking lot. And I've gone out there many times myself, both with the vendor and my fellow Home Depot partners, to try to make it a safe area. Customers are already going to be out there because March to fall, and then with Christmas trees, we have activity out in the parking lot, customers out in the parking lot, and traffic out in the parking lot, basically 365. So I agree with you 100%, and I see where you're going with this, but I know what we've struggled with year after year after year, and now we're to the point where we need some help. We need some help in trying to develop this and grow this part of the business, because as people are moving into these houses to the west of us and they continue to build, people are looking for this as another option, and this category is growing.
And you are presenting this as a solution. You're not going to, for lack of a better phrase, junk up the front with other displays if you're granted this minor amendment.
No, actually the plan would be, currently right now they have tool rental put in front of the exit area. There's a couple of machines that can't fit in the front of the building because of the sheds. What we're going to do is take that equipment, put it on the apron, so now tool rental is one neat, clean presentation, opening that fire exit so people can get out of the building, and making the sheds off in their own little statement on the side nice and neat.
But that's going to be clear of the emergency exit?
Yes.
The tool rentals. The tool rentals are going to be clear.
Yes.
Okay. Because I think that's where you're going. Okay. Any other questions or comments by members of the Planning and Zoning Board? If not, a motion would be in order. And this is a motion to approve. This is not a motion to the village board recommendation.
I'll make a motion to approve a special use permit. Is that what it is? A special use permit?
It's a modification.
Modification to the special use
minor
permit.
amendment.
A minor amendment to the special use permit to allow the sheds to be moved into the parking spaces in the parking lot
As depicted on the...
as depicted on the information provided.
Okay, do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
So 4 of us.
We need a second first before we do anything.
I'm slightly torn.
It doesn't mean you have to vote for it.
Right. Does somebody need to second this just to get a vote going?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'll second it to get the vote going.
Okay. Any discussion on the motion? If not, can we roll call, please?
Bow,
No.
Path,
Yes?
Pasak,
Yes.
Sula.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is a public hearing. It's a variance request from the Lake County Children's Advocacy Center located at 123 North O'Plain Road. Clara, do you have a staff report?
Yeah. The Lake County Children's Advocacy Center is requesting the following variances. A variance to allow a play structure to encroach into the corner side yard setback, and a variance to allow a pergola to encroach into the corner side yard setback and the front yard. For the subject property, the corner side yard setback is 30 feet along the Brookhaven Road property line. Per the zoning ordinance, pergolas and playground equipment are not allowed to encroach into the required corner side setback. Pergolas are only permitted in the rear yard. As proposed, the playground equipment would be 9 feet from the corner side lot line, and the pergola would be 11 feet from the corner side property line. The pergola would also encroach 7 feet into the front yard. The applicant has been invited and is here today to answer questions.
Okay, excuse me. As this item is a public hearing, I would request anyone from the petitioner to please stand and be sworn in by the village attorney.
I'll swear you. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Thanks.
Great. So if you could just start with your name for the record and...
Hi, my name is Lyle Stalter. I'm with the Lake County State's Attorney's Office. The application is on behalf of the county, the owner of the building. The Advocacy Center is run by the Lake County State's Attorney's Office. Before I get into our application, I want to say thank you for all of the support for you and the village for what we've been able to do at the Children's Advocacy Center so far. We really appreciate it, being able to put the fence up and the landscaping into the side yard. I do have some pictures.
And while you're doing that, I think the changes that you made since the last time were really good.
And that's actually what we were going to show you, what it looked like even before we started, and what the interior of the garden looks like. I know you've all driven by it several times, and you're familiar with what it looks like from the exterior. We are very, very happy with how it's come. We've received very many positive comments from the neighbors in the area, as well as to how the fence and the landscaping look so far. The next step well, let's go back a little bit. The whole intent, and when we came here with the fence, was be able to install a healing garden for the young victims that have, and their families that are brought to the Children's Advocacy Center. That is the whole purpose of this whole project. The fence and the landscaping provide privacy for the individuals and their families when they are out there, but it's to give them a break from that very intense, serious activity in their life that they are reliving. You know that the Advocacy Center is for children who've experienced sexual abuse or very serious physical harm. So we're talking about very, very sensitive victims, and we're just wanting to, and the purpose of the Healing Garden is to provide them a place to kind of get a relief from that interview process that they go through. And so that's why we also had the fence and landscaping for the privacy. And so the next step was just to make it a little bit more welcoming for our young children and even their families. With respect to the pergola, we did submit a picture of the pergola that we're intending. It's going to be open side. The location that was picked was along that north property fence line, which we felt would also have the least amount of impact to the area. It would bring it, by being able to put it along that fence line, I'm sorry, it's to the west. I apologize, to the far west. Being able to put it in that middle of that fence line there brings it farther away from Brookhaven, so we're not encroaching into that setback as much. And then the setback from that front yard setback, the building is already significantly off of the road, and so there's very minimal impact. The pergola should probably be about 8 feet tall. That's my understanding, 8 feet tall. The arborvitae that are planted along that fence will exceed that in height. Right now, the fence is 6 feet. The arborvitae are about 6 feet. Some of them are actually taller than that. They usually grow about a foot a year. So within a couple of years, you probably won't even be able to see the pergola from the roads at all. And so we're asking for the front yard setback and the corner side yard setback for that pergola, and then also the variance for the play structure in the back. The location of the play structure is the most, I guess, least impactful for the neighbors because it's the farthest back behind the building. It backs up along that wooden fence. The height portion of the play structure is actually farther away from the fence. The closest to where we would be at that, I forget if we asked for 8 feet back there? I'm sorry, Clara, thank you.
For
The play structure?
for how far it is from the corner side yard?
Yeah.
I believe at the steps, which would be closest, it was 9 feet from the corner
Okay.
side.
Okay.
And at the tallest portion, I believe it was 11 feet.
Yes, thank you. So at that 9 feet, that portion of the structure is still below the fence line and the arborvitae line, so you're not going to be seeing that. You're not actually going to see the play structure until you're at that 15-foot from the that setback. And so, and even then, the arborvitae are going to be tall. We also have other landscaping around that area that are going to be taller than that play structure and kind of help detract and make, I guess, the less impact of the top of that play structure at the top. So I know the criteria are the physical surrounding shape and topographical condition of the property. As we've discussed before, with the layout of this property being the former post office, there was no other green area for the healing garden. This was the only area that it was of sufficient size to be able to put in the garden. And so we fenced it off, so the impact, it's going to have very minimal impact on the neighbors as it is. There will be additional landscaping put in, which will still block any of the visual aspects of the two structures. The other criteria with respect to being able to make a profit from this, it's a government-owned building, public use zoned. It's not commercial property. It's not sellable. This is really only for the benefit of the children and at the Advocacy Center. There's no ability to sell this for a profit based upon getting this particular variance. And as we discussed too, the unique conditions of the property, and they're unique in the zoning district because it is a public use property and because of the layout of it. There are no other properties throughout the village that are similar to this that are going to be asking for similar type of uses. I mean, the public use zoning is very, very limited throughout the village. And apologize, with respect to there are no other uses similar to the Advocacy Center throughout the village that would require the same type of area. So you're not setting a precedent by allowing this in a public use zoned area. And as I've already addressed, that the purpose isn't to make money. It's to provide a place for the young victims in Lake County to have an opportunity to get a break from their intense issues that they are reliving. And it's just one little thing that we can do and that the Advocacy Center and the State's Attorney's Office is trying to do to help these young victims through a very, very difficult time and process. I think I addressed everything. If there's any specific questions, let me know, and I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Okay. I just have a couple to get us started. What are the general hours of the Advocacy Center?
I need to confer with my colleagues. Their regular business hours, 9 to 5.
9 to 5, okay, good.
And one of the things I did want to raise is that it's not going to be like a playground at the park where you've got 20 kids out there at once yelling and screaming and crying. There'll be one child, and maybe that child's siblings or family. So it's not an intense activity level. It's going to be very limited to the number of individuals out there at times. So the potential noise impact is very limited because it's not like a bunch of kids screaming at a playground.
And it's exactly why I asked the question. I think you've got the line of sight issues covered between the arborvitae's and the fencing, and it is low impact. And I mean, part of the reason for the setbacks is not only visual, but it's also noise related too. And I mean, your hours of 9 to 5 and having 1 to 2 to 3 children out there at a time, I don't think is going to cause a noise disruption for the surrounding community. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you.
Does any other members of the board?
I just had a question. You tried to screen this, and I recall this being here before. You wanted the 8-foot fence, and you're trying to screen the whole thing, but you put the pergola right up against the front fence, so you have nothing screening there, right?
The arborvitae are up along between the fence and the pergola.
Oh, they're just not showing that on this
That-
drawing then. Is it underneath it? No. It's like there's nothing in front, and it's open in the back, right? The pergola?
The photos that we did hand out at the back show that there is arborvitae completely around the inside of the fence.
Okay. All right.
And I tried to depict that on the hand-drawn.
The one that says Westview that came in our packet is probably.
It came in the packet originally?
The Westview and the northwest corner.
Northwest corner, yeah.
Both kind of show it.
It looks like it would go right here.
Yeah,
Oh.
the last two.
Okay.
Yeah, like the line drawing doesn't show.
Oh, it is all across it. Yeah, the line drawing
Yeah,
doesn't show it
the
at
line
all.
drawing doesn't show it.
It's like you took them out in order to put it
Yeah.
in. Okay.
Brian, any questions? No. Just a formality, it's the public hearing, I need to open the floor to the public. Nobody's here, I'm going to close the floor to the public. Okay. Any other additional questions or comments? If not, a motion for a recommendation to the village board would be in order on this one.
Motion to submit a favorable recommendation to the board for this variance for the Lake County Children's Advocacy Center for the 2 variances listed related to the variance to allow the play structure to encroach into the corner side yard setback, and the second variance to allow the pergola to encroach into the corner yard setback and front yard.
Okay. And I would just add as presented.
As presented.
Okay. We have a motion, we have a
I'll second
second. Second by Edwin. Any discussion? Can we have roll call, please?
Bow,
Yes.
Path,
Yes.
Kazak,
Yes.
and Sula.
Yes, motion carries, and as you know, we recommended the village board, and Clara will let you know when the village board will be hearing this particular matter.
Thank you, and
Thank
thank
you.
you very much for all of your time. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for what you guys do.
Good luck. Thanks for the great job. It looks beautiful.
Yeah, it looks really
Yeah.
nice.
We have a
Nice.
meeting on the calendar for March 15th. Does it look like we're going to have something?
Yes.
Yes, good, okay. See everybody in 2 weeks. A motion to adjourn to be in order.
Motion
by
to
Josh.
adjourn.
Second by.
Second.
Second by Edwin. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.